Welcome to Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes. This is a roster update video, and this one's probably going to be pretty quick because there hasn't been too much time between this one and the last one. And that means no Marquees or unlocks to address, but we'll look back at some of the recent ones that have occurred and we'll drop a resource or two on them. Major project progress. Right now, that's the epic confrontation on Baylan Skoll and GL Ahsoka. Today's the day of the Ezra in Exile kit reveal as I record this, and we learned that Ahsoka is not going to be active until after Exile is in game. So we got 3 months minimum to continue working on Ahsoka, which means we've got plenty of time and we can borrow a little bit from there in order to do some things a little bit earlier. Epic confrontation, Great Mother is going to happen pretty soon. Within a few weeks to a month of her shards being in shipments is when I would expect that event to occur. So we got like a month and a half. Crons, not too much going to occur, but I have been doing a ton on Datacrons, so we'll at least glance at them. You can see where I'm at. Weaknesses, raids. That's the other place we're going to spend a little bit of time. Raids, as they overlap with other projects, there's some opportunities there. Now, a glance at the context. This has been updated with, I think, everything. So we got our raid characters, these resources. What you can see really, for the most part, though, is we've been pretty good for a while, just keeping pace with all the requirements that I need. The only thing that I've been really bad on has been the circuit boards and the signal data. Signal data, no shortcuts, but circuit boards, here we can make some progress. And if you've been paying attention to these in detail, you know, from last week to this week, we were very bad last week. We were basically out of the circuit boards, but we can buy them in the store again. They've shown up, and I dropped 4,000 crystals on these. I had terrible luck. I think I got at least 100 circuit boards 5 times out of the, 4,000 crystals? So 8 purchases that we made, 5 of them were 100 crystal drops. Not great. But what that does mean is for everything that is pretty meaningful, I am basically all that I need. I'm a little behind on where I would like to be for Ahsoka, but we have 3 more months. I'm going to be fine. And definitely in the time that it takes me to farm all that signal data. I still need a ton of signal data. But I'm okay enough today on signal data to at least do one thing that I want to do. Now, before we go too far here, this column is for raids, this column is for the epic confrontations, and this is on Ahsoka. And this is some luxury stuff that I would like to get to, but we're definitely not going to be doing anytime soon. Now we'll start dropping a few of the resources. The one thing I want to do with recent unlocks is Luthen. I do want to drop this Ami on his basic. I wanted to do a little bit of testing. We actually did some testing during this past week of Grand Arena, although the Luthen testing was a little weak. This is probably because we don't have relics on these characters. I don't really want to do relics today, although we could. I'm kind of thinking I want to give him another week at Gear 12. And this mainly because for me to really be able to use this squad, we're talking relics on Saw, Luthen, and Chirrut at a minimum. That's probably enough for me to be able to do the squad because we already have bays at relics. I did that a few months ago. And I'd probably throw like Kyle Katarn or Biggs or whoever in that slot who's already at relics. And I am pretty good on Kairos, and my Kairos are budgeted for Luthen. You know what? I think I'm talking myself into it. Let's just do it. We're not going to go higher relics because I don't want to spend the signal data that we don't have, but we can take them to relics. Or at least Relic 0, and then the Saw Gerrera would be the other one. We will do it. We'll just Relic 0. I'm not going to worry about Datacrons because I don't want to do Chirrut. Chirrut's definitely something I don't want to do right now. And actually, we'll do Relic 1. Relic 0 is meaningless in the circuit boards. We can afford 10. That's not going to detract from the other things I want to do today. Really, I could probably afford Relic 3, but we'll want to take... Because this isn't something I was intending to do, I'm going to take it easy. And that will be able to push along the testing that I'd like to do. We're going to hold off this other Ami. I try to avoid triple Ami characters and Amis on specials. They really need to be proven before I'll consider them. Because an ability that is on cooldown, you are limited from getting a good amount of utility out of. So uniques, leaders, basics, those are in general going to be pretty safe. Although even a character like Cadme, some of her leadership is a little iffy. Although maybe we'll consider that one this week. Now, with our other recent unlocks overlap with our major projects. We got Baylan and Ahsoka. Now, with Ahsoka, what I do want to say about these requirements is the timeline that we have been just given for GL Ahsoka is pretty strange. This is is more time that we've had on a GL than we have maybe not ever seen, but with any new recent GL, it has been a long time since we've seen this amount of time given to a galactic legend. And what that has made me do is rethink what these requirements are going to be. I do think now we may have not heard of all of the Marquee characters who are going to be required for Ahsoka, because that is the only way that the timeline makes sense. I had previously thought that because of CG's wanting to preempt any potential spoilers or any leaks, that they just announced them all to begin with. That might not be the case. Maybe we will get like a Huyang. Maybe we will get like a Jedi training Sabine and see those requirements, which would change some of these predictions, which some of them, like you can see I have like multiple Rexes here. I'm pretty soft on those as an option. I still feel like a couple could be here, but it diminishes Fulcrum as a possibility. I still think Cup will probably be there, or somebody like him, but I think it diminishes Plo Koon and Barriss. Those kinds of characters are reduced in chance to make room for at least one light side Marquee that I think will be announced, like maybe even in a month and a half. It has shifted how I'm thinking about these things, is basically what I'm saying. But what I will do today is start making a little bit of progress here. I don't really feel like taking him up to Relic 5, but I do want to be able to at least use him with Datacrons, because right now that's not an option, although he did really come in clutch for me as a Sabine replacement when I did a Crux counter up against a third sister. That I was pretty ecstatic about, because I didn't think it was going to happen. That will be good for here. I want to do the same for Snips. Actually, do I want to do that right now? I'm going to hold off on this one. We might come back here, because there's a bigger thing I want to make sure we have the signal data for. And for that, we need to look at the raid characters. Now, the most important thing that I can do right now is make POW and Master Qui-Gon assault battle ready. And we have the resources now where I can take both of these guys up to Relic 9, right? I know it's Relic 9. I'm just wondering about the keypads. And I do have the keypads for it. What I don't have is I can't bring Cadme up to that level. But I do want to bring her to Relic 7 minimum so I can change my tier level on the raid. Let me just pay attention to the signal data, because I didn't really confirm that I have everything I need. I'm just assuming that I have everything I need. I think we're still safe. Maybe. Yeah, we should still be safe. All right, let's go up to Relic 8. All right, here's the big one. Relic 9 on POW. All right. Same deal with Master Qui-Gon. Finally qualify for this stuff. And there's major incentive to go after this stuff as early as your roster, as it makes sense for your roster. And for me, that's right now, because it is going to reduce the cost of those keypads and the droid brains. And that means it has made relics, these high-level relics, slightly easier. And that is meaningful. So that gets us those two big pieces, and I want to bring Cadme up to Relic 7 for that increased raid performance. I'm not going to bring her up any higher than that for now, but this will still be pretty meaningful. Will also help out in Grand Arena. And the other thing to consider with her is, do I now want to consider a second Omicron on her? And the leader Ami is the one I would consider, but I don't like the fact that I'm at 60 Amis. This is the lowest I've been in probably a year. I think I'm going to do it. Like, why wait? Am I really going to do this right now? Go down to 40 Amis? I think I'm going to do it. It's just, she's on defense now. I gotta make them a strong team. I really don't like being this low on Amis. But that is now an increased in quality team. Now here at Datacrons, I do want to just show where I'm at, because I've got a lot here. We got Barriss, we got Bosk, we got Cup, we got Nihilus, we got two Nestcrons, both of those Nest abilities. Gamorrean Guard, Gar Saxon, that one we can't use. Cup's another one we can't use. Iden's another one we can't use. I do have Iden at Relics, but what I don't have is enough troopers at Relics. Then we got Jedi Consular, can't use that one, but I grabbed it anyway in case he turned into a GL Ahsoka requirement. That's the only way I would consider using this. Sabine, we are close to Stormtrooper Han. I took him up to Gear 13. I did not give him any resources yet, and I'm still going to hold off on that. I do like that Kron though, and I do want to see what it would do to like a Sana squad. We got two 000s. We don't need need to, but what I have been doing is I've been going up to level 9 so that I can control the rerolls on the level 6 ability. Just increase the chances that you get the version that you want. And that's something that has helped out a lot. So we got Vandor, I can't use that one. Visas, Wampa, Watt, we're using those. Young Han I can't use, he's not at Relics, but I do like that Kron as well. Basically, I got all the Krons I want and several that I don't. And then all these locked Krons are ones where I have a level 6 ability. I am happy. Is that right? So I'm pretty much done. I got to keep re-rolling in a couple places, but I'm in a pretty solid place with this Kron set. It's been expensive, but I'm happy. Now, where that brings us is, do I want to look at Snips and bring her up to Relic 7? And now I've decided I don't. And the only reason I'm doing that is because we got another 3 months minimum on GL Ahsoka, so we've got time. And with the signal data, we're now starting to get a little low, where I want to hold back just to give myself a little flexibility for things to come. Like Balin Skull, we know there's going to be a lot of resources there that we need to start budgeting for as that becomes a little bit clearer of what all we're going to need for that event. Last week we did some work with the Imperial Remnant characters. We took Enoch as the most recent Marquee character up to Gear 11. We took Gary up to Relic 0, and the testing that we did was very promising. I took out a fully Relic Kelleran squad with it, which I didn't expect at all was going to happen. And I do think Gary is going to be very important to the squad to protect Enoch. I was losing Enoch in every battle that I was testing them with. Today what I want to do is the Wall of Stormtrooper Zeta. Now we're not going to get full functionality out here because Stormtrooper gains 40% offense for each defeated Empire ally, and the Remnant characters, or the 3 new Marquee characters, are not Empire characters. So Enoch, Judge Death, Night Trooper, not Empire. But with the squad that I've been using, at least to this point, with Gary and the TIE Fighter pilot, they are Empire. So those 2 characters dying off, and with Enoch's functionality of them needing like 9 or 10 stacks to be taken out, that's potentially 640% extra offense to Gary, depending on the kill order and all of how that occurs, how many stacks you get before Gary's ultimately taken out. On top of that, we get this condition here for Imperial Remnant allies gain 20% protection up. And because of how decay works, I think we are going to want to protect Enoch with the protection up, but also protect the rest of the troopers because they will be getting a little bit weaker as the battle goes on through the decay mechanic. So having the protection up at the start of each of Gary's turns means that we'll get a decent amount of protection up going around, making everybody a little bit more survivable. So we are going to drop this, and then we'll test it out, see how it alters the squad. Hopefully beneficial. Some of these Zetas, like if you think about how Night Sisters work, like you want the characters to die off. So if this is one that makes it harder to get the functionality you want, then that's going to be something I would want to take back. We won't be adding relic levels to Gary just yet, though. That's something where I want to be careful with the signal data and the circuit boards, and not until we have these characters more fully farmed, where we can at least see if Enoch can survive a battle. I do think there is some punch-up viability here, but I think the extent of it still needs to be determined. So we'll wrap it up there. I got some raid stuff now that I can take care of. Thank you for watching. Be excellent to each other, everybody. This is Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes.